Okay, I can forgive myself for not figuring this one out because they didn't actually tell you what the effective affinities are before you go in. And while they don't give us the effective affinities here, we still do have an idea because it's going to be the same element as last time. Do I want to change my characters though? I don't think I do. I think the pierce damage, like they are slash resistant, and that's 1, 2, 3. But then I have 3 pierce identities and a neutral one. I think we're good at least on identities. Are there ego I could change?
서두르지 말고 느긋하고 여유롭게.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of done here. Oh, we're going straight into a fight. Okay. With 5 of these jackdaws, great. Who has the most chance of screwing up? I think you do, so I'll give you an extra hand here. It's amazing how much nicer this turn can go when they don't roll horribly on speed.
왕의 비호를 하사한다. 목이 피었잖아.
That was so rude. As was this.
우리 식구를 건드렸겠다.
Ooh. Okay, this is not such a good turn though. We're gonna have to throw away skill 3.
나가서 싸워.
인가?
뒤는 내가 해주지.
아이씨, 짜증나게.
You can't let me have anything, can you, game? Well, I suppose you can let me have this, but still.
꿰뚫려라.
Wow, that was rude.
바이올렛 브레이크 슬램!
That one has to go, as does this one. Actually, is there a passive that I haven't looked at? If prescript was executed, gain 2 grades of the prescript. If this unit has 3 or the target has prescript's index, then executing. Gain a karmic consequence. At less than 6, gain 1 grace of the prescript. So they're going to keep counting up whether we like it or not. But this one... Okay, that's the skill that I was worried about. Undertake Prescript. Convert all coins to unbreakable, but only if they have the target. Wait, why is he dealing so little damage? Skill power -2. Take extra damage from index enemies. Oh. It's actually making him roll that low because he has such a low starting roll, it seems.
나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지.
놈 나와!
환락에 삼켜지기 전에.
Ironically, for how much I really didn't enjoy these enemies in Library of Ruina, they still do have the best. They still have the best decks in the late game Star of the City. Even when you start outliving even when your rolls start to fall off, they're going to be important for just how important they are for deck economy. Highlander decks.
너희의 이 혈투를 승리로 이끌.
As long as we get our hit in, I think we'll be okay, but just in case, stab him in the side.
나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지. 형님 쉽시 피날레를 준비하지.
The bleed damage helped a lot.
먹지.
따스한 너는 가족이 되기엔 약한.
너희의 무기 이 혈투를 승리로 이끌겠다.
We're missing Envy, huh? Wow, they really hate Gregor for some reason. Gregor, what did you do that upset the prescript so much?
갑니다.
따스한 피.
아류탄초 경혈육수 찢겨라.
추잡하네.
흙을 마실걸?
아이씨,
Oh wait,
짜증나게.
she has the mark of the prescript? No, she had a defensive skill lined up.
전부 녹여서 썰어버려도 상관없지?
Who's next on the It's Mersault.
거치적거리지만 마. 따뜻한
또한 용서할 테니.
검을 덜 갈았었나? 무기를 만드는 것만큼 내가 어버이보다 뛰어났지.
The festival will end.
가족을 위해 나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지.
피날레를 시작하자.
10 stacks of festival. No wonder I hate getting hit by that attack from Dulcinea. A thing that took down multiple of his foes at once, you deserve some praise. kind of a letdown that when they were body blocking the door like there was some big secret behind it. Right? Just looks like any other average family home. Oh man, I get cleaning up's a chore, but peeps should at least dust their home in once in a while. The thick layer of dust covering every surface and the blotchy wallpaper made it clear that no one's been living here for a good while. Whichever family lived here must have had a child. Look, there are drawings and dolls too, though it seems the place has been abandoned for a long time. Could something bad have happened in here? Yeah, something must have happened here, because that caused the family to flee. They never got to return. Yeah, lots of evidence there suggesting that. The open door, the single shoe just lying around. So someone fled from home for some reason, never to return. This is, I'll just say Tifereth. And people will get it when they get to it. I don't know, it's kind of hard to narrow down the cause. It really could have been anything. Are you searching for something in particular, Ryoshu? Yes, but it doesn't seem to be here. Every framed photo is singed beyond recognition. Whatever documents there were have been torn to shreds. Kind of like my memories. So this wasn't where he escaped to, huh? The index nurse father, Rien. The last we saw him, he fled the house via the corridor after suffering a severe wound at Ryoshu's hand. If by some miracle he survived, there's a chance he'd come after Ryoshu again, but something about our last encounter led me to believe that it was the last time Ryoshu would ever see him. This is... Do you recognize the drawing? I found myself hoping to see Ryoshu piece together another memory. She'd been recalling new details all day whenever something caught her attention. Sadly, she responded by softly shaking her head. No, I don't.
피분수가 폭죽보다도 높이 솟아올랐어. 아니야, 이렇게 크게 웃으면 안 돼. 아름다움을 잃지 않게, 그리고 제2 권속으로서의 품위도 잃지 않게 하자.
842. Don Quixote only managed to 339. It really does boil down to, hey, did Don Quixote get hit? Because she seems to be the one that keeps messing up these clashes. And Gregor actually took more damage than he dealt because I spent a lot of turns using his defensive skill to feed the Blood Feast. 1909. Sangria. I get the feeling that this is going to be the boss. So, let's kill time.
기능보다 소재의 원본을 드러내는 방향으로 겉면의 결착 염색 방식은 사후 경험보다 돋보일 수 있게. 예, 피드백에 따라 결정을 보완하겠습니다, 도슨트님.
So, let's have a look at what Mersault is. Don't expect to see him. I'm not going to throw all my experience tickets at him to catch him up, because it's just not going to happen. But what we can do is have a look at his Uptie story. So, Skill 1, Rough Portrayal, 2+3, rolls a... Wow. He rolls an 8! That's pretty bad. Visceral Strokes, 3... Actually, wait. Inflict a bleed and a bleed count. At least he has that. Almost nice bleed count infliction. If target does not have mold color rouge, clash power +1. Inflict bleed, bleed, and bleed count. Rolls a 12. Clash ball counter. If this unit has Lethosism Mask de Xian, base power +2. Inflict extra damage for all the mauled color on the target. Inflict 1 more bleeding and sinking with base skills. Before hitting with the target, if they don't have bleed, inflict a bleed count. Inflict a bleed, inflict a sinking, his only source of sinking, but it is there. Alright, on hit with a base skill, inflict a mauled color rouge. This counts as inflicting a negative effect. If this unit has 10 plus mauled color rouge, gain his mask. So that means 10 turns unless it gets an extra skill slot. Gross. At coin start of critique, gain imperfections and addressed. That's her defensive skill for hitting someone with lots of targets. If she doesn't have reflection, lose this effect. On reuse of a coin, heal 3 SP, but also just deal extra damage. Alright, so Uptie. Gain 3 to 6 speed to 3 to 7 speed. Rough Portrayal, gain a coin power boost but nothing. If targeted, gain a coin power boost but nothing. Okay, so if we have Forfism Mask de Qian, unfortunately that doesn't help us pick up speed any further. That's really annoying. So it's still 10 steps, it's just now he'll have more mold color at the end of it. If this unit's SP is at max, gain blunt damage up when healing SP instead of healing SP. Okay, his speed range goes from 3 to 7 to 4 to 7. Forfism, reveal submission. Deal 10% damage for every type of negative effect on the target. At less than 50% HP, or if the target has 5 plus mold color, use coin 3 an additional time. All coins become unbreakable. Inflict bleed, bleed and sinking, bleed count and sinking count. Raise the coin power for his skill 1 to 2 to 4, so now it rolls a 10. By today's standards, that's pretty gross. He might as well be a 2-coiner, a 2-star ID. 3 plus 4, so that becomes 15. If target does not have mold color rouge, gain clash power, bleed count. On ally with the fastest speed, on hit, inflict defense level down for every 2 types of negative effect once per turn, maximum of 3. Okay.
발톱 장식이 요격 없음. 먹이를 핥혀 소나기에 담으려는 격정 느껴짐. 이번에 만들어낸 작품은 심사의 출품에도 좋겠군. 그런가. 이참에 다음 작품을 위해 새 소재를 채취하는 것이 나을지도.
I don't like that these Uptie 3 scenes now have too much dialogue, so you can't. I have to speed read it if I want to get through the whole thing in my head. And of course the Uptie tickets will the takeoff tickets will immediately skip past the scene, so you can't even see that. First, thread the suture through the eye of the needle. Number 27 suturing sinew is a synthetic Z-twist fiber, assembled by using the ingredients coracopilaris musculature and calcaneal tendon. It is to be threaded through the number 2 bodkin needle. Then, suture and close the facial incision located on the interior. The feedback received at the critique session was that the animal in focus was to be made more obvious. Therefore, parts taken from other animals have been removed wholesale, and traditional primary material has been procured to compensate for the missing components. Now, place a thick patch of reasonably pre-trimmed material over the facial incision and suture it shut. Using only the primary ingredient will fall short of tensility goal when established when my original blueprint was conceived, which was designed with access to a wider variety of ingredients in mind. Still, this technique will allow me to achieve a similar effect. The current objective remains the same. Receive an evaluation higher than B- and attain a measurable improvement beyond the status quo. Because it is customary for individuals who have chosen to join this collective to engage themselves with a consistent output schedule and steady improvement in evaluations. Further adjustments to this objective seem unnecessary. The docent has advised that I could perhaps use the desire to coil the ring twice. Thrice around my ring finger as fuel to obsess myself with completing the work. However, I have no desires of that kind. Other points of feedback from the docent were likewise executed without issue. I have watched 62 videos of dogfighting pits, paid 7 visits to Forest Animal Conservatory, watched 71 documentaries on predatory animals, and spent 284 hours living alongside the primary material candidate. However, none of these advised activities had led to observable improvements in the evaluations of my work. The purpose of this assignment is to feel what it is to be fauve, wild beastly, to be impulsive in only the way that animals can. However, as the instruction manual did not include any references to how the aforementioned feel could be applied to artwork, I have been unable to identify a measurable means by which it may be translated to physical medium. I have punctured the transfusion bag. Blood prepared for curatorial staging is leaking out. Revisiting these memories must have made me somewhat emotional. The touch of my fingertips have become too rough. In such a case, temporarily seal the perforation with a large gauze sheet. According to instructions, materials with this level of thinness require number 21 ultrafine needles and 6 times delaminated nerve fiber thread to handle. This fiber is too brittle. Experience dictates that employing the number 18 bone needle with my off-fiber thread would be most effective for this task. I will continue to attempt the current method nonetheless, as I must work in accordance with the instruction manual. This work will require a longer time investment than initially calculated. Enough blood has now leaked to drench the material's auburn fur. While this is the potential to partially constitute an expression of the fauve, the instruction manual did not state that products of happenstance can be used for this assignment. As such, the blood will be removed. Perhaps the veracity of these instructions is to be doubted and reviewed. The concept of le fauve, conceived as a product of my experiences, does not seem to agree with what is conveyed by the instruction manual. Because what is more fauve than the crimson, that so insidiously encroaches upon the brownish pelt, like that of the wild hound, has just torn open its prey's jugular. Yet, how much faith can one put in what their gaze has beheld? There is no empirical method by which this perception can be impartially confirmed. Then, judgment will be reserved. My ability to patch the perforation on transfusion bag before the complete loss of blood is limited by my insufficient skill, which means that more of the ingredient must be gathered. This artwork's aesthetic qualities have not met the standards, but its functional merits have been field tested and improvement. Its claws extend near instantaneously from the retracted position when the starter cord is pulled. It is highly functional. Each claw on this work has a sharp edge, making it a most suitable tool for harvesting ingredients. The artwork's inner lining is subcutaneously fatty layer has been rearranged for comfortable fit when equipped over an arm. And beneath the enveloping fur is an enclosure made from mesentery to minimize damage to its interior. My submissions have consistently scored a series of B-, which can evince there is a degree of objectivity to my aforementioned assessment. However, I have been unable to address the feedback that my work lacks punch, which is an evaluation that has little to do with the artwork's functionalities. Just what am I supposed to... Injection needles inside the helmet have been activated. The paint enters my bloodstream, reinforcing the connection between me and my work. And my own fibers. The material used to carefully construct the artwork's interior firmly wrap around my hand, allowing me to wield this tool as if it were a part of me. The injections ensure an easier time collecting my ingredient, even as dozens of assailants present in the harvesting grounds pursue me. However, a disadvantage of such a method is that it instills excitability in the user. Emotional excitement begets impulsivity, which makes the prospects of clawing things into unrecognizable red paste a rather irresistible proposition. If only I could paint them over with my brush. Wouldn't that too make for a fine piece of art? What a shame. If only the instruction manual specified that such a moment of passion could be redirected toward my work. It would have enabled the composition of better art. He just can't break away from the instructions. If it's not in the instructions, he won't do it. Anyhow, what does the final Uptie give us? An increase to an addition of singing count, but he's not singing stable. Do 5% damage for every type of negative effect on the target. Do 5% for every type of negative effect on the target. If the target does not have mold color rouge, gain a clash power. Final power +1 for every 4 bleed plus sinking on the target. On hit with an additional coin, randomly inflict mold color on target divided by 3, bleed or sinking, but only with the additional coin. Max 3 each, rounded down. Inflict a mold color rouge, finally. If this has Leforgism, base power +2. If target has 6 in lead and singing, gain kind path. He really cannot do anything about his mold color stacks. Okay, we're going a bit too long for today, but I want to have a look at what Rodian can do. When this effect expires, gain l'hommage next turn equal to the number of students on the field. Which is also what she earns for this. So if she has 3 ring students, she does actually get to grab things up quite a bit. But there's nothing I can see about her giving out. Yeah, she can't boost his abilities. So he really is locked to taking about 10 turns of successful beatdowns, so he has to keep winning clashes. He is such a long burn. Unless he gets extra skill slots. It just doesn't seem right. Oh wait, no. On hit with a base skill, it doesn't have a turn limit. Okay, that changes everything. I've been misreading this the whole time. But either way, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.
옛날 생각을 해?
No, that's Heathcliff.
에고 웨폰의 기존 형태는 라이플로 추정됩니다만 유서 깊은 사조라는 것은 곧 오랫동안 중심이 변하지 않았다는 것. 야수파가 칭송받는 이유 또한 그것에 기인할 것입니다. 그렇다면 자연히 여러 사조를 엮으려 시도 때도 없는 첨가를 하던 자의 사조는 훌륭하지 못한 것이 되겠군요.